On the morning of September 20th, 2017, Hurricane Maria struck right here in Puerto Rico, devastating the island with 155-mile-per-hour winds. The third strongest storm to make landfall in the U.S. unleashed a full-blown humanitarian crisis on American soil.
Thousands of people lost their lives, and even more were forced to leave home and come to the continental U.S. Now, 1 year after the storm, hospitals and other public buildings remain badly damaged, the electric grid is vulnerable to frequent outages, and the most isolated areas lack water.
Puerto Rico is in crisis and needs support. Thankfully, the City University of New York has been playing a crucial role in the recovery effort. I'm Tinabeth Piña from CUNY TV, and you're about to see the many educational, environmental, and constructive ways in which CUNY has been helping Puerto Rico bounce back. Earlier this year, Governor Cuomo launched the New York Stands with Puerto Rico Recovery and Rebuilding Initiative, where skilled volunteers, along with nearly 500 SUNY and CUNY students, spent the summer rebuilding devastated neighborhoods just like the one behind me. Anne Riddell has that story.
The sound of hope and humanity. City University students spending part of their summer helping to rebuild communities in Puerto Rico, a year after Hurricane Maria wreaked havoc on residents there.
When you get to meet the homeowners like this lady here that we just fixed their roof, it's really, and you get to their little kids, it's really emotional because they're so happy for us to be here, but you can see the sadness in their face from what happened to their home over here. It's very sad, but it feels good when we get to help them out.
It is truly emotional because you just see, it's devastation. And just put yourself in their shoes, you lose everything or you can't provide a safe home. It's just devastating.
The effort is part of a larger project, a partnership with Governor Andrew Cuomo's office. Both CUNY and SUNY students were selected to work with skilled trade professionals on the ground in Puerto Rico. We spoke with City University Interim Chancellor Vita Rabinowitz about the program.
The work they're doing, which is hard work, and it's 5 days a week, it's full days, they are construction workers, but they're also interacting daily with families, communities, and not-for-profit organizations. So they're learning a lot about how to work cooperatively on complex projects. It's truly an academic experience, but it's much more than that.
The opportunity to have a meaningful impact in Puerto Rico is something CUNY students told us they were hoping to find. And for some, it's a deeply personal mission. We spoke with some of them over the summer before they left on their service trips.
I have a grandmother who passed away as a result of the hurricanes, so that's when my passion for the initiative grew because I felt helpless. I didn't know what I could do to help. It's like a huge privilege. I am so proud of my school.
CUNY is an institution for which public service is at the core. We were built, literally, to serve the underserved people of New York. That is in our DNA. So I see this work as right in our sweet spot.
Governor Andrew Cuomo talked about the efforts earlier this summer while in Puerto Rico.
We want to increase the number of students who are coming to help. You should know we had over 3,000 applicants for the 500 spots. So the number of students who wanted to come was much larger than the number we believed that we could accommodate.
Home by home, roof by roof, volunteers and students working together to tackle the devastation in Puerto Rico.
I have been very, very impressed, and I'm making friends here with CUNY students, and I see them working with building trades experts, and it's really, really satisfying to see this program coming together so well. I've learned something since 9/11, and that's say yes. Say yes to helping people, because when you help people, you help yourself. And when you give, you get more in return.
Ready? Yeah. Let's put differences in politics aside and just realize that there's something we have to take care of. These are basically our people too. We're all on the same planet. We should all be helping out.
It's not Democrat, Republican, Independent down here. This is human to human help.
I'm Anne Riddell for CUNY TV.
Many Puerto Ricans who relocated after the storms have still not returned home. For those who made their way to New York, Hostos Community College has been helping with the transition. Our Andrew Falzone sat down with 2 hurricane refugees who have made New York City their temporary home.
FEMA me ayudó, me puso en un hotel y ahí estuve hasta junio. Actualmente estoy en un shelter.
Desiree Cancella's family is one of about 1,200 families that were relying on support money from FEMA to keep them in temporary housing. These families are spread out across the United States. Desiree is in a Manhattan homeless shelter, not knowing if she'll ever return to Puerto Rico. She fled after Hurricane Maria.
Mientras la tormenta estaba pasando, temía mucho por mi familia. Nunca había visto un huracán de esa magnitud. Si hay una noticia que una tormenta viene para Puerto Rico, dice, oh mami, no, yo no quiero que Puerto Rico otra vez, nunca nos vamos a ir. Entonces, si viene otro huracán como María, nunca nos vamos a ir, mami, porque no, Puerto Rico no aguanta eso. Le dicen, emocionalmente, psicológicamente, estamos bastante afectados.
The Health and Wellness Center at Hostos is helping these new New Yorkers like Desiree navigate a difficult life transition.
A lot of the families are struggling with anxiety, depression, other types of challenges that anyone going through these circumstances would be experiencing, from dealing with the trauma on the island of the hurricane to coming to a foreign place.
Mis hijos han sufrido mucho. Mis hijos quieren volver para Puerto Rico, pero no tenemos los recursos. Le va mejor acá a ellos, en la educación, en los trabajos.
Families who relocated to New York were originally put in hotels by FEMA, but that subsidy ended on July 23rd and may or may not be available again, pending the outcome of an ongoing court battle. That FEMA eviction forced many of those families into city homeless shelters, and Hostos Community College has now stepped in to try and help those families get the services they need.
Folks don't know where to go, and they're kind of hopping from one social service agency to another. So what we wanted to do is work with other organizations that are supporting these families in finding ways to better help them get the resources that they are entitled to and make that transition as least traumatic as possible.
For many who sought refuge on the mainland, all they could take was limited to the little they could carry. Hostos has been providing free storage for those who need it. That's where we found Rafael Barreto, organizing the little he had left, the horror of his ordeal still fresh in his mind.
Aún habían personas en esa residencia y tuvimos que sacarla, darle asistencia para sacarla. Ya sea en un kayak.
What's that like when you have to go from house to house pulling your neighbors out to save them?
Impotencia. El querer darle la mano, apoyo, y no teníamos mucho que ofrecerle y dejarle saber que estábamos con vida. Y que estábamos allí para darle la mano.
Many hurricane survivors who came to New York have been shocked by housing prices, making it harder for them to live in unsubsidized housing. Rafael is working 2 jobs and is still unable to afford his own place.
Muchos de nosotros no buscamos que la ciudad nos facilite voucher, nos paguen nuestras viviendas. Lo primordial para muchas familias es tener un techo seguro. Una vez uno tenga un techo seguro, el camino se nos hace un poco más fácil porque ya nos podemos enfocar en trabajar lo que estamos trabajando.
Do you want to stay in New York? Would you like to go back to Puerto Rico?
En Nueva York estoy prestado por un tiempo, pero yo regreso a Puerto Rico. Como decimos mucho, ese pedacito de tierra es nuestra vida. Y en Puerto Rico es que yo voy a morir, no voy a morir en Nueva York.
This past year, CUNY's Graduate Center, along with the Center for Latin American, Caribbean, and Latino Studies, established the Miranda Fellowship, a $150,000 award to a PhD candidate to study Puerto Rican migration. It marks the first time that a program specific to the study of Puerto Rico has been established within CUNY at the doctoral level.
More than 250,000 students who were attending colleges here in Puerto Rico found they couldn't go back to school after the hurricane. But instead of putting their schooling on pause, many were welcomed at colleges on the mainland, including CUNY schools, who offered displaced Puerto Rican students in-state tuition. Erna Beldemillo has more.
Monica Martinez-Raga was vacationing in New York when the hurricane hit. She watched the images helplessly from a friend's apartment.
It was just completely heartbreaking and really frustrating for me not to know how my family was for a whole week.
She also found herself stranded in New York with just her carry-on luggage.
I couldn't go back for multiple reasons. The hurricane had destroyed part of the airport. Also, my parents could not host me back home because the resources were quite limited. There was no food, there was no water, no electricity, and there was so much uncertainty.
With no money, she had to work 2 jobs until she was able to afford an apartment. Then she decided to head back to school when she heard about CUNY's program to help students from Puerto Rico.
And I saw that CUNY was giving tuition break to people in Puerto Rico for students. And that was what motivated me to get back on track, simply because I had this opportunity to go to an excellent school.
Monica would pay only the in-state tuition rates, saving thousands of dollars. She's now studying economics at City College of New York. According to the New York Governor's Office, there are an estimated 200 students enrolled at CUNY under this agreement, including Gabriel Munoz, who lived through the horror in Puerto Rico.
It got so loud, my ears would pop so much. It was the noise was very scary, and we weren't expecting the kind of destruction it would bring.
When the sun came out the next day, they saw the devastation. His family spent weeks without power or limited power and other basic needs of living.
Waiting in line for water. We didn't know if the water was okay. The neighbors taught us how to purify the water with Clorox.
After helping his family get back on their feet, Gabriel decided it was time to focus on school, and he knew he had to leave Puerto Rico to do so, so he headed to New York. He's now at Queens College, majoring in biology. He enrolled back in January and admits it has been difficult.
While the students from Puerto Rico are saving thousands in tuition, many still have to pay for room and board, and we all know New York City can be quite expensive.
And lonely.
Do you miss Puerto Rico?
Yes, I do. I really do. I miss my family.
But both students agree that so far it's been worth it. And for Monica, she believes she has found her purpose in life.
I definitely feel the responsibility to become a professional, study, and be able to go back with even more resources, because that's what Puerto Rico needs, people.
And she did just that, return to the island. Monica is one of more than 24 students from CCNY who went to Puerto Rico this summer as part of Governor Cuomo's initiative.
My first day, we finished a roof. We finished a second house in 3 days, and now this last day we started a new one, and we're almost halfway. So it's like we are getting things done.
This was also Monica's first time back since last year.
It was just great to see my family again. I hadn't seen my dad in a whole year. I'm really happy to be back, but at the same time, I'm a little bit heartbroken just seeing how things have changed. Everything looks a little bit different. I'm so lucky to be here with an organized project. I feel a lot of hope in the people. There's hope in our country, and there's hope that in the end of the day, we have to, count on us, on helping hands.
I'm Ernabelle DeMillo for CUNY TV.
Several CUNY campuses hosted events throughout the year that help students, faculty, and the community at large understand Puerto Rico's crisis after Hurricane Maria. One summit in particular facilitated the connections and collaborations of Puerto Rico's civic sector and Puerto Ricans in the diaspora who want to contribute to the rebuilding of Puerto Rico.
This is a bridge of people. This is a bridge of relationships. This is a bridge of ideas. This is a bridge of a foundation on both sides of the water so that people can make contributions that are meaningful to those that are most affected.
You're about to meet a professor from John Jay who not only was in Puerto Rico during Hurricane Maria, but has been a driving force in the island's recovery. She's been a part of many initiatives, including flying medical teams here at a time when many doctors and nurses are leaving the Commonwealth. Zyphus LeBron has that story.
This cell phone footage of Hurricane Maria's high winds hitting Puerto Rico was taken in the hours before Dr. Jody Rory and her children had to abandon their beachfront apartment for refuge in the island's interior.
We never saw any relief work in our neighborhood. So for 9 days, we opened a community kitchen with a neighbor who had a restaurant downstairs to help feed the children and the elderly in our community.
Running the community kitchen got her thinking about other ways that she could help. Thus was born Doctors for Maria Relief, an organization that brought medical supplies, surgeons, nurses, and doctors to 60 municipalities on the island. The first health brigade came together quickly after Rory made a phone call to a friend who is a journalist.
Michelle Leung is a correspondent for Vice. So I called her, explained to her what was going on. She said, "What do you need?" I said, "I need you to help me get a plane." And we put a call out. I put a call out for medical providers, doctors and nurses to come and help me. I was able to contact the Department of Health and have our doctors and nurses certified before we landed to Puerto Rico.
One of those doctors was Gerardo Miranda, a sports medicine physician who works at Mount Sinai. He says he was shocked by the scope of the physical damage to the island's infrastructure.
I grew up there, so I've been through a couple of hurricanes, but nothing like this.
Miranda's background as a team doctor proved crucial when packing the essentials for treacherous travels along mostly eroded roads. The brigades often offered roadside assistance to patients, signing prescriptions, and offering consultations from the backs of flatbed vans.
More often than not, we're just chronic illnesses that were in the verge of becoming acute. So people that needed their periodic assessment were not able to get to the doctors, or the doctors weren't able to open their offices because they didn't have any electricity. They didn't have access to the roads for wherever they live. So it was a combination of things.
Access to electricity and the need for clean water was just part of the issue. Rory says that the storm had blown the lid off the percolating health crisis that existed on the island.
People in the hardest hit regions don't have access to doctors because their doctors have left the island, or their doctors that are there don't have the ability to open their offices.
According to the Puerto Rico Statistics Institute, more than 1,200 physicians and surgeons left the country between 2005 and 2013 to live on the mainland. There, they can earn more than double what they make on the island.
In Puerto Rico, different than in the States, it's more common that you have your own practice and your own income. So when you're not working, you're not earning money.
The fiscal crisis is going to only compound the situation for professionals to leave because there's no incentive for them to stay. The inconsistency of electricity with the ongoing blackouts and the fact that people still remain without light and water on a consistent basis are just things that make it so that this health crisis is compounded.
Rory says she will continue to highlight the crisis in an effort to spur not just a rebuilding of the island, but a total transformation. One she hopes will include using underground electrical grids and solar power to protect the country from another protracted disaster. For CUNY TV, I'm Zyphus Lebron.
Right after Hurricane Maria, Hunter College's Center for Puerto Rican Studies launched Rebuild Puerto Rico, a website that supports Hurricane Maria disaster relief and recovery efforts. You can find information about volunteering, donating, and much more by logging on to centralpr.hunter.cuny.edu/rebuildpuerto-rico.
When a natural disaster strikes like Hurricane Maria, not only are the people affected by it, but so is the environment. I had the opportunity to meet up with Macaulay Honors College students during their environmental service trip to Puerto Rico. Let's take a look.
I think of like this tropical island that's so beautiful and what it used to be, and just looking at the environment and seeing how different it is now is so sad.
The trails are all messed up. The water that's around this area, they found like a high concentration of fecal matter, and people are drinking that with no filters. They're drinking sewage water, so the island's not okay.
Jasmine and Destiny are two of the 16 students who were selected for the Macaulay Honors College service trip to Puerto Rico. They teamed up with workers from the San Juan Bay estuary to not only engage in service, but also learn more about the island's biodiversity.
The 5 areas of concern that are part of this relief program are the community support. So we not only do conservation work, but we also get to know what the community needs are and then bring that support. The other areas is green infrastructure. So we're reforesting and replanting areas that were devastated, and also supporting the work of the Puerto Rico Aqueduct Sewer Authority. The gray infrastructure, which is the clearing of debris out of the waterways and also out of the sewer system that is actually prompting flooding and further impacting the health of the communities. In the last area, which is the co-management of the Condado Lagoon Reserve, that lagoon was actually impacted. It does receive a high level of fecal coliforms, which is bacteria, every time it rains. So our role is to conduct water quality samples on a weekly basis and inform the public on a weekly basis as well through Facebook.
Macaulay students had a first-hand look at what the estuary does and worked side by side with other volunteers during the environmental cleanup.
Oh man, it's rough. You had to see us yesterday. We were very, very dirty. Yeah. It's a lot of manual labor, a lot of digging. I think I'm almost an expert maybe at using a shovel, which I've never done before. And here we are planting trees on these beautiful beaches and planting flowers and just rehabilitating gardens and creating tree nurseries. And there are so many different things that we're doing that we don't have the opportunity to do or that we've never done before. So it's just been an amazing learning experience.
I feel like we've accomplished a lot in like the short amount of time that we've been here. Like when we went to Vieques, we planted 70 trees in like 15 minutes. It was insane. Like you might not think a week is a lot, but it's really amazing what you can accomplish in that amount of time. So if more people just come here for a short amount of time, like things will get a lot better.
The students weren't the only ones learning something from this service trip.
One of the lessons I learned, and it's a very touching one, is that so many Puerto Rican people felt abandoned and are so grateful for the conversation, for the demonstration. And I certainly see that we're not doing for, because we're always working alongside Puerto Ricans. And I think one of the happiest days for our students is when they were teamed with Puerto Rican high school students at a special high school in Humacao, where the students had dreamed of an outdoor green classroom with plants and benches, and it was just a dream. And then together working hard labor side by side, we made it happen. That was a great afternoon for us.
Many people on the island are also grateful for CUNY's presence there and shared their feelings with us.
Cuando se vayan me van a hacer falta,
porque yo paso el tiempo sola porque mi nieta trabaja y estudia. Me están haciendo compañía.
Service trip is not about you. It's about serving the people in the community. And some of the hours are long that you may be working, and some days you don't want to get out of bed maybe. But it is so important and so invigorating to give back to the community, and that's what's going to make a difference.
Although Puerto Rico is still in the process of rebuilding, you can and should come for a visit. All of the CUNY students and faculty who visited the island in the past year not only worked hard in helping the island bounce back, but also enjoyed what the island has to offer. Tourism is one way you can help Puerto Rico recover. For more information on other ways you can help, log on to our website at tv.cuny.edu. I'm Tinabeth Piña, and thanks for watching. Gracias.
It's just so important to come to Puerto Rico, to spend money here, and to support local businesses.
Homes are really bad down here. The people are in bad shape. And if you could do anything, donate your time, donate your money, any resources, please try to do it.
I would stress it as well that all of us students try to make awareness in social media, because our work here is not done.
It's just so important to come here and do what we can, and then to bring it back to CUNY and to share what we learned and to share what we saw.